In America, the Biden administration embarked on a $2 trillion plan in 2021 that was intended to upgrade and further develop the landscape of the nation and the infrastructure in the greatest country in the world. As a result, from energy-efficient high-speed rail systems, gigantic expansions to major highways, or 2.5-kilometer-long bridges to super advanced equipment that peer into the galaxies. There is no shortage of ambitious projects in the US that would not only amplify the infrastructure in the country, but also provide a much-needed boost in the economy with thousands of jobs created by this massively expensive endeavors. Join us today as we learn about some of America's insane billion-dollar mega projects expected to finish by 2037. Number 5. California High-Speed Rail $40 to $110 billion. California phase under construction. Initially proposed by Governor Jerry Brown in the 1980s, it wasn't until 2008 that the citizens of California voted to approve the $10 billion energy-efficient high-speed rail system. That would actually be the first of its kind in the United States of America. Although there are similar light rail lines like the Amtrak Alsea Express line, these cannot be classed as a high-speed rail system because they only go as fast as 150 kilometers per hour. The California high-speed rail system, which is similar to those that run in Japan, China, and some European countries, will speed through the 24 planned stations from Los Angeles to San Francisco on a 2-hour 40-minute trip at speeds reaching 220 miles per hour. Apart from the neck-breaking speed to which it would help the citizens of the city commute, the system will also contribute to the city's zero-emissions climate goals due to its use of renewable energy. It is estimated that when the system begins to function, it would reduce the greenhouse emissions in the city by tens of billions of pounds, due to the phasing out of about 1 million cars and aeroplanes from the California roads and skies. It will also save the country from spending billions of dollars on the importation of oil per year. However, the project is still incomplete, partly due to several lawsuits against the execution of the Megaproject, and the errors made by the engineers that cost the project hundreds of millions of dollars. Furthermore, funding has been an issue. Although Biden has returned about $1 billion that was withdrawn by the Trump administration, there are still problems with raising the revenue for the project that is estimated to now cost about $105 billion, from an initial cost of about $40 billion. With any luck, it would move on from the first phase of construction and be completed by the end of the decade. Number 4. Gordie Howe International Bridge $4.4 billion under construction. Similar to the legendary Canadian professional ice hockey player that it's named after, the Gordie Howe International Bridge seeks to bring the North American nations of the US and Canada for a longer period of time than the 25 years that Gordie Howe served the Detroit Wings. Estimated to cost about $4.4 billion, this cable-stayed bridge that would sprawl across the Detroit River in order to connect Detroit to Windsor, Ontario, shall provide uninterrupted freeway traffic flow for people seeking to commute between both countries. Upon completion, the 2.5-kilometer crossing, which is being developed by the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority, will be the longest cable-stayed bridge in North America. With a main span of over 800 meters, the bridge will be able to accommodate tens of thousands of commuters with 6 lanes for all types of vehicles, and a 12-foot wide pedestrian and bicycle path that is situated between 2 A-shaped towers. Besides the 2.5-kilometer crossing, the project also involves the construction of new ports of entry at both Canadian and American terminals. The Canadian port of entry shall be the largest Canadian port on the US-Canadian border upon construction on a 130-acre site. However, this shall be dwarfed by the American port, which would be built on a 167-acre site. It is estimated that this mega project will be completed by the end of 2024. Number 3. The 30-meter telescope, $2.4 billion, incomplete. Also known as the TMT, this $2.4 billion extremely large telescope is the manifestation of an idea that was born nearly 4 decades ago. Although the advent of the COVID outbreak delayed construction, this isn't the only factor affecting the completion of this marvel that will help us look back to the beginning of time. Turns out TMT has sparked controversy due to the fact that it's being built on Mauna Kea, the most sacred mountain on the island of Hawaii. Nonetheless, upon completion, it will become one of the largest visible light telescopes, as it'll stand at a height of 217 feet and occupy 1.4 acres of a 5-acre complex. It shall be made up of a 30-meter diameter primary mirror that will be segmented and shall consist of 492 smaller individual hexagonal mirrors. There shall also be a 3.1-meter secondary mirror. This has been created in order to search deeper into space and provide us with images of cosmic bodies and activities that would be clearer than even the James Webb Space Telescope. Due to the controversy caused by construction of the telescope on Mauna Kea, the date of completion is still undetermined as TMT International Observatory, the international nonprofit organization in charge of the project, is still deciding on where to relocate the telescope. Although sites like Cerro Armazones in Chile and Hanle, Ladg are also being considered, there's still nowhere to relocate the parts that may have been constructed. Number 2. Hudson Yards, $25 billion, New York, stalled. This $25 billion mega development, which is scheduled to be completed in 2024, is a real estate development which is located at the outskirts of the Chelsea and Hudson Yards neighborhoods in Manhattan. Considered the largest urban development since the Rockefeller Center, 13 of its 16 planned structures shall sit on a platform over the West Side Yard. As the first of the 2 phases was complete in 2019 by related companies and Oxford Properties, the developers of the projects, people can visit the lush green space and magnificent 8 mixed-use structures, which includes the elaborate honeycomb-like structure called the Vessel that provides space for residential and office units, along with a hotel, a mall filled with retail shops, and a culture facility. Although the second phase of the project hasn't begun yet, there are plans to increase the number of residential and office spaces, as well as the inclusion of a school. Number 1. Tunnel and Reservoir Plan, $4 billion, Chicago, under construction. Desperate to control the torrid water problem in the Windy City, Chicago has embarked on perhaps one of the biggest mega projects in the world. Initially embarked upon in the 70s, the Tunnel and Reservoir Plan, also known as TARP, is a $4 billion mega project that centers on a system of deep 109-mile tunnels and massive reservoirs that is designed to curb the constant flooding of the city, while sanitizing the local waterways that has been known to be one of the most toxic bodies of water in the nation. The system is designed to collect and store the combination of stormwater and sewage that would have flooded the streets of the city before being cleaned and released after it is pumped into the system's plants. Phase 1 of the project, which was completed in 2006, has already been recognized for its success in achieving some of the goals of the project, which include the massive improvements made to the sanitation of the rivers and lakes of Chicago. Phase 2 of the project, which involves the construction of 3 huge reservoirs that'll curb floods and increase the system's storage capacity to 17.5 billion gallons, is believed to be completed by 2029. Proposals for mega projects aren't going to slow down anytime soon. For a country like the USA, these ambitious projects are what makes them one of the superpowers of the world. Whether some of these get completed is a genuine question. For that, I only have one thing to say. Let's just wait and see.